Okay, hello, italki teachers and any online English teachers. I am continuing this series of videos on digital tools where I show you different tools and how I use them with my students. Okay, so I use this with my students not only on italki, where I teach, but also in group classes as well. So this video is dedicated to Padlet. So let me show you Padlet. First of all, the reason why I'm making these videos is so that ideally you get a better sense of confidence with using these digital tools. So these are specifically for either teachers who are a little bit apprehensive about using technology and they want an extra nudge and they want to see what other people have done, and perhaps to give them motivation and inspiration by giving them ideas. This is also for teachers who love technology and just want to step it up a notch and try something new, who have that kind of shiny object syndrome like I have. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you how I use Padlet with my students. So this is my Padlet right here, okay? But if you're new to Padlet, what you would do is just go to Padlet, sign in, for example. You could join or sign up right here for Padlet. It signs me in automatically, of course, because I have Padlet already, but all you would have to do is join, sign up, use your email address, yada yada. So this is free, by the way. This is an absolutely free resource, and all of the resources that I'm going to show you in this series are free, okay? Great, and in fact, all of these videos are free as well. Of course, I upload them and I release them to my patrons on Patreon early, as a way of saying thank you to my patrons. But these videos, the vast majority of them are offered for absolutely free as well. Okay, so let's have a look at Padlet right here. So basically, with the free version, I believe you're allowed to have up to 5 different Padlets. Let me just show you an example first. So as many of you know, I am an italki teacher. I teach on a platform called italki. That's why I'm EnglishTeacherRyan. Well, at the beginning of every, once a student books with me on this platform, on which I'm self-employed and I'm a freelance teacher, I send them a little welcome message and I say, hello, I'm Ryan, looking forward to meeting you. If you have any questions, let me know. And this is what I send them, this Padlet right here. So it has a few different resources. This is a link to my YouTube channel. This is a link to my teacher philosophy, and I don't know why it says my teach philosophy. I might have to update that. So if you want to update it, you just edit it, and now it says teacher philosophy. This is actually a good exercise for me and for all of you. So I'll go through adding, posts or adding articles to your Padlet in just a moment. But basically, it's my YouTube channel, my teacher philosophy, welcome to my class. So right here, it's a little document that explains what we would be going over in the very first lesson. Again, for any italki or preply or verbling teachers, I've made a video on this, on how to make a welcome to my class document, how I made mine, and I also offered a template for you to make your own, right? So these are the 3 things that I send to my students. Other things you could send to your students, perhaps a reading for the first lesson or a video for the first lesson to help prepare them. You could also send maybe a video of a teaching demonstration if you have that. This all depends on how experienced you are and what you have, right? But basically, I have a lot of experience. I've been teaching on italki more than 3,000 lessons. I've been teaching on italki for more than 2 years, and I've been teaching in general for more than 5. So clearly I have a lot of these resources, so I share them with my students. Now, why do I use Padlet? Well, as you see, it's a nice little way to kind of put all of this together. It's a good little repository, and it's completely free. So if I want to share this with my students, I click share right here. And as you could see, there are different settings you could have it on. So right now this is on secret, which means the public cannot see it. Only my students could see it. Visitors can write, right? So that's what they're allowed to do. And actually, I should probably allow them to, oh yeah. They could view and add posts, but they cannot edit. That's right. And approve others' posts. That's right. Right. So what I should do actually is only let them read. So again, see, like going through this allows me to learn a little bit more as well. But here you could have a password, you could have members only, blah, blah, blah. So for me, I have it secret, so only my students could access it. And I have it on read only at this point, okay? Now, this is what I use for my one-on-one classes. Some of you may teach group classes, so I want to show you how I use this with my group classes now. All right, so let's come back here. I'll close this down, come back here. Free classes with Ryan, okay? So I actually have, I host free classes. This is an initiative I've begun recently, in I guess we could say March of 2022, recently depending on when you're watching this. And what I do, I have one lesson. It's a drop-in, hour-long weekly lesson for groups. People contact me and I add them to the list and they could drop in as they wish. So far we've been having a fantastic time. We've had great crack, great fun. So basically at the top, you see right here, I have all of these resources, which basically refer to the whole course, right? So I have introductions. So students could use this Flipgrid to introduce themselves. And this is actually the next free digital tool that I'll be making a video on, Flipgrid, right? So they could introduce themselves. This is the schedule for March right here. I should be making the one for April soon. This is a feedback form. So you could basically link anything you want here. You could link Google Docs here. That's what I do with my students. So this is like the music list. So students could request songs that the DJ plays at the beginning of each lesson, 1990s only, right? So the point is that you could post anything you want, and you can make them different colors, which is helpful because these are all white, which means that they are all for like the general course. These yellow ones are all for week number 1, class number 1, right? So this is the pre-lesson reading, the pre-lesson video, the homework task, the in-class activity, blah, 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 right? All of these in red, guess what that's for? Week 2, right? Again, the recording, the homework, the pre-lesson video. Week 3, this is all green, right? This was on St. Paddy's Day, so I gave them an article for the history of St. Paddy's Day. This is their homework. This is their pre-lesson reading, right? And we're on week 4 right now. Well, we just finished week 4 and now we're moving on to week 5, right? So this is really useful and convenient because you're able to kind of put everything in a very it's all embedded, so it's all kind of pretty, right? And it's just more fun to look at pretty things. Of course, I could use other digital tools. I could use Google Docs if I want to, and I do use Google Docs for other things. And I've made a tutorial on that as well, which you could check out in this digital tool playlist. But for this, I would rather have something that's pleasing to the eye, something that has aesthetic value. And that's why I use this. So I'm going to continue contributing to this repository until I hit the limit. I don't know if there is a limit. I don't know what it is. I may have to pay at some point, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Now, let me just come back here. So this is my dashboard, right? So I've shown you how I use this for my one-on-one lessons, for my group lessons. I also use this for homework tasks For example, I have this right here where people could create memes. So again, if you want to give your students a homework task which is more visual, Padlet is perfect for that, right? I have another one where they could create logos. They could contribute logos. So it just adds, like I use Blogger with my students as well, but with Blogger, you can't actually, from what I know, you can't really, if you're commenting, you can't add a picture. So on Padlet, you're able to do that, and that's really, really convenient, okay? And finally, the last Padlet I have here is my Kahoot repository. So again, I make Kahoots for students, Kahoot quizzes. I have a video on that as well, so check it out. And I also make online courses, and I use Kahoot in my online Udemy courses with my students. So right here we have different collections of Kahoots, right? So it's all in one place, which makes it easy, and it makes it pleasing to the eye, as I said before, because instead of there just being a link or maybe a hyperlinked word, it's embedded, right? And it looks beautiful, to me at least. Now, here is one of the, I'm going to show you how to make a Padlet in a second, but here is one of the drawbacks with Padlet. If I go to make a Padlet, I have to pay, right? Why? Well, I've already made 5. So I've created 5 for free, right? And if I want to add any more, I'll have to pay. That's fair. I think you could do a lot with 5, at least to get started. If you're using this for different tasks, it might be worth it to pay for premium. For me, I use it more as just a collection for different things. So honestly, I'm fine with this for the time being. But as I said, if you use this and fall in love with it, it may be worth it for you to pay. Some digital tools I do have subscriptions for, such as Kahoots, but for Padlet, I don't find that it's necessary. You could join other Padlets as well. So for example, if I were a student, I could join other teachers' Padlets too, if I wanted to, and that allows me into the group, and that gives me access to, looking at the other teachers or the other person's Padlet. So maybe if you don't have time, if you don't have enough space to create activities for Padlets, you could instruct your students to do so. You could refer them to this video, they could watch it, and they will have a tutorial on how to use Padlet, right? So that's just an idea, because then you could be linked to their Padlet, you could look at their Padlets, their tasks, and that's not taking away from what you're doing. That is not eating up your free Padlets, if you know what I mean, the 5 free Padlets you have. Okay, now let's finish this up just with adding to your Padlet, okay? And I'm actually going to add something. So as we're going through here, I realized that I didn't add the PowerPoint presentation for week 4, and I didn't add the recording for lesson 3 or lesson 4. So let's do that right now. So let's start off by going to YouTube. I'm going to go to my other channel, EnglishTeacherRyan, which focuses more on English teachers. Which focuses more on teaching English students. What am I saying right now? Okay, great. So this is the lesson for recording. It was based on art. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to go to the plus right here. I hope you could all see that okay. So I'm going to go to the plus, and I'm going to add the title. Okay, so this will be week or class 4 recording. I'm going to add the link. So you could upload files, you could add pictures. I'm going to add a link right here. You could add all different kinds of links. This will all be self-explanatory, but I want to add a link. So I basically paste and then click enter, right? Down here, I could just put this is the recording for lesson 4. Okay, and I'm going to change it from white to blue because that's the theme for this week, and publish. All right, so now it's right there. It's in the fourth section, I guess you could say. The only thing that could be a little bit annoying about Padlet, and I'm sure there's a way around it, which I just haven't figured out yet, but if you move them around, they kind of like go all over the place, right? So that could be a little bit tricky. Like if you really like where it is, and then you go to move something, it could kind of like send everything haywire like this, right? But you know, for the most part, great for a free resource. So let me add a couple more things, right? So I added that one. I'll go back to EnglishTeacherRyan and I'll go to the lesson 3, the St. Patty's Day lesson, which was based on adaptability and travel. That's right. So now I'm going to add this one. Okay, class 3 recording. Okay, going to go to the link, copy the link, press enter and say this is the recording for week 3. And what am I going to change it to? This time I'm going to change it to green, right? And you don't have to do this. This is just kind of like what I do to keep things a little bit more clear for my students. Final thing I'm going to do, go to my slides. Okay. By the way, the reason why I'm going to these other resources or digital tools such as Google Slides is because I want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I want you to all see how you could use other tools such as YouTube, such as even Google Docs, Kahoot, Blogger, the different tools that I have tutorials on, and how you could use them with one another. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to bring it back. Go to PowerPoint week 4. Oh, you know what? I'm doing the wrong one right here. I should go to the art one. This may be in my other account. Beautiful. Here we go. Yeah, the art one. And by the way, everyone, I get my slides from Slides to Go. I think it is the most beautiful. They have the most beautiful slides, and most of them are free. And to be brutally honest with you, I may end up subscribing one day for that as well because they are beautiful. Okay, great. And this is the PowerPoint for week 4. And we're going to make that one blue, right? So look at that. Look at how well kind of, if I do say so myself, look at how well put together it is. So this is Padlet right here in a nutshell. Here, I'll just come back here to speak to you all. So in a nutshell, I think the biggest drawbacks of Padlet, if you could say there's a drawback, is the fact that you could only make 5. And aside from that, I think that it's very visual, it's beautiful, it's easy to use, it's very user-friendly. So if you have any questions about Padlet, put them in the comment section below. I'm going to be making more tutorials. I have made more tutorials, so be sure to check them out. If there is a tool you want to know more about, let me know as well. All right. And until next time, keep smiling.